They walk among us every day, in our workplaces, in our families, in our relationships, and most of us never see them coming. They're charming, confident, captivating. They make you feel like the most important person in the world, at first. But behind that charm lies a calculated playbook, a set of strategies designed to control, manipulate, and ultimately destroy your sense of self. Today, we're going to decode that playbook. We're going to expose every tactic, every strategy, every manipulation technique that narcissists use to control their victims. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how they operate, and more importantly, you'll know how to protect yourself. But first, we need to understand what we're dealing with. Narcissistic personality disorder isn't just about vanity or self-absorption. What you see on the surface, the confidence, the charm, the success, is just the tip of the iceberg. Beneath lies a fragile ego that requires constant validation to survive. At their core, narcissists experience a profound emptiness, a void they desperately try to fill with admiration, control, and the emotional energy of others. This is why they target people like you, not because you're weak, but because you have what they lack: genuine empathy, emotional depth, and authentic self-worth. And they have an entire playbook of strategies to extract those qualities from you. Let's break down each one. Phase 1, the idealization. This is where they hook you. When you first meet a narcissist, it feels like magic. They seem to understand you in ways no one else ever has. They mirror your values, your dreams, your sense of humor. It's like meeting your soulmate, your perfect match. But here's what's actually happening. They're studying you, learning your vulnerabilities, your desires, your insecurities. They're gathering intelligence. Narcissists are emotional chameleons. They become exactly what you need them to be: the perfect partner, the ideal friend, the mentor you've always wanted. Then comes the love bombing: excessive attention, constant communication, elaborate gifts, grand romantic gestures. It feels incredible, intoxicating. You've never felt so special, so wanted, so completely adored. What you don't realize is that this is creating a chemical addiction in your brain. Dopamine floods your system every time they validate you. They push for rapid intimacy, moving in together after weeks, talking about marriage after months. They want to lock you in before you see the truth. During this phase, you're making emotional commitments based on a fantasy, a carefully constructed illusion designed to trap you. But the idealization phase can't last forever. The mask eventually begins to slip. Small inconsistencies appear: a flash of anger, a cruel comment quickly covered with charm, a lie that doesn't quite add up. You dismiss these signs. After all, look how perfect everything else is. Everyone has flaws, right? But these aren't flaws. They're glimpses of what's coming. And by the time you see the full picture, you're already trapped. The idealization phase is over. Now the real relationship begins. Phase 2, the devaluation. This is where they break you down. The person who once adored you now seems irritated by your very existence. Nothing you do is good enough anymore. You start walking on eggshells, constantly monitoring their mood, adjusting your behavior to avoid triggering their displeasure. This is intermittent reinforcement. Random moments of warmth mixed with coldness. It keeps you desperately trying to recapture the good times. Like a gambling addiction, those occasional moments of affection keep you hooked. You remember how good it was. You believe you can get back there. The criticism becomes constant. Your appearance, your intelligence, your friends, your family, your career, nothing escapes their judgment. Your self-esteem erodes. The confident person you once were begins to disappear. The gaslighting intensifies. They deny saying things you clearly remember. They accuse you of being crazy, oversensitive, dramatic. You start questioning your own perception of reality. Maybe you are remembering it wrong. Maybe you are too sensitive. They isolate you from your support network. Your friends don't understand the relationship. Your family is too negative. You spend less and less time with people who might validate your concerns. Soon they become your only source of reality, your only connection, your entire world. They project their own flaws onto you. They accuse you of being selfish, manipulative, uncaring, all the things they actually are. You find yourself constantly apologizing for things you didn't do, for feelings you have every right to feel, for simply existing in a way that inconveniences them. Their expectations constantly change. You finally meet one demand only to find 3 new ones have appeared. You exhaust yourself trying to please someone who can never be pleased. The silent treatment becomes a weapon. Days of cold silence punish you for perceived slights. You beg for communication, for connection. You do anything to end the silence. They introduce triangulation, mentioning exes, flirting with others, making you feel like you're constantly competing for their attention. Your self-worth lies in pieces on the floor. You no longer recognize yourself. Who is this anxious, depressed, constantly apologizing person? This isn't who you used to be. But you can't leave. You're trauma bonded. The highs and lows have created a psychological attachment that feels impossible to break. You defend them to others, make excuses for their behavior, believe that you can fix things if you just try harder. You pour everything you have into the relationship, your time, your energy, your very sense of self, until one day there's nothing left to give, and that's when they move to the final phase. Phase 3, the discard. This is where they throw you away. Once you're depleted, once you no longer provide adequate narcissistic supply, they lose interest. They may have already lined up your replacement, someone new to idealize, someone with fresh energy to drain. The discard can be sudden and brutal. One day you're together, the next they've vanished. Or it can be calculated. They engineer situations where you look like the bad guy, the crazy ex, the unstable one. They rewrite the entire history of the relationship. Suddenly, everything was your fault. They were the victim all along. The discard is devastating, not just because the relationship ended, but because of what they've taken from you. Your confidence, your self-worth, your ability to trust your own perception, your faith in other people. You struggle to understand what happened. The person who once adored you now treats you like you never mattered. But wait, just when you start to recover, they might return. This is called hoovering. They apologize, promise to change, show you glimpses of the person you fell in love with. If you take them back, the cycle starts again. Idealization, devaluation, discard, each time taking more from you. The only way to break the cycle is to recognize it, to understand that this is not love, this is abuse. And to close the door permanently, no contact, no exceptions. Because you cannot change them, you can only save yourself. Now let's talk about protection. How do you guard yourself against narcissists? First, learn the red flags: love bombing, moving too fast, excessive charm, a trail of failed relationships they blame on others. Pay attention to how they talk about their exes. If everyone in their past was crazy or abusive, that tells you something. Second, trust should be earned slowly. Don't give your heart to someone who hasn't proven they deserve it. Third, establish and maintain strong boundaries. Narcissists test boundaries constantly. How you respond tells them everything. If someone doesn't respect your boundaries, that's all the information you need. It doesn't matter how charming they are. Fourth, maintain your support network. Don't let anyone isolate you from the people who love you. Fifth, document everything. Keep a journal. Save messages. When they try to gaslight you, you'll have proof of what actually happened. Sixth, trust your gut. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Your instincts exist to protect you. Seventh, seek professional help. A therapist who understands narcissistic abuse can be invaluable for recovery. Recovery is possible, but it takes time. Be patient with yourself. You will reclaim your sense of self. You will learn to trust again. You will heal. And you will be stronger for having survived this. You'll have knowledge that protects you for life. You might even be able to help others recognize what you went through. There's a whole community of survivors who understand you're not alone, and when you're ready, you can build healthy relationships, real relationships, based on mutual respect, not manipulation. Real love doesn't require you to lose yourself. Real love builds you up instead of tearing you down. You deserve real love. You deserve respect. You deserve someone who sees your value without trying to diminish it. The darkness doesn't last forever. There is light ahead. And on the other side of this experience, a better life awaits. This has been the Narcissist's Playbook. Now you know their strategies. Every tactic we've discussed today serves one purpose: control. Understanding them is your first defense. From now on, you'll see these patterns in relationships, in workplaces, in families, everywhere narcissists operate. That knowledge is your armor. Use it to protect yourself and the people you love. In our next episode, we're going even deeper. We'll decode body language and the subtle signals people send without realizing it. If this video helped you understand something you've experienced, or might help someone you know, share it. This knowledge saves lives. Until next time, stay aware, stay protected, and remember, the psychology they don't teach you might be the most important psychology of all.